Black magic and universal patinas on metal coatings. Here we're going to start with some sort of garden statue. And remember, the nice things about the metal coating process is it doesn't make much of a difference what surface you start with. As long as you use the primer and the metal coating and then the patina, it should all work out well. Now the only thing is making sure that that primer actually sticks. So if you haven't already seen our videos on the primate and the metal coating process specifically, we've got some great YouTube videos already out specifically detailing those. Here we're going to be talking more about the black magic and universal portions of it. So here we've already done the primer, 2 coats. We're on to our bronze metal coating, and we're going to do 2 coats of that as well. And you'll notice in a lot of our videos we do the bronze metal coating. It's just a fan favorite, so we usually go with that one. But this works on the brass and copper as well. And it would also work on the iron metal coating, but with various different details since the doesn't have any copper in it. So again, here we're going with our second coat to get that good coverage, as well as we need to do a wet coat for the black magic to take properly. Now, for the black magic to work properly, we're going to apply it full strength, but we need to rinse it. If we do not rinse the metal coating process with the black magic patina, we can get varying results. I've seen from a reddish bronzy black color up to a really kind of white and runny kind of streaky mess. So here I'm going to lay on pretty heavy, and I'm going to start from the bottom. Now starting from the bottom works best because as we get runs from the top, the bottom's already reacting, so it shouldn't show any lines from that patina running down from the face of the statue there. So we start from the bottom and get that all coated, get it reacting, and then we move our way up. And again, I'm going on pretty heavy because I'm going to end up rinsing it off here in a few minutes. Typically, you let it go for about the same as you do if you're working on steel, about 3 to 5 minutes. Again, the important thing, same as working on steel, don't let it dry. If you let it dry, that's when we can start getting complications. We can get white buildup residue. So ultimately, don't let it dry. And here we've got our distilled water, and I'm going to start with a squirt bottle and get a good portion of the red that comes with the black magic off. And then I'm just going to go into a gallon and really start going it off. A lot of the times it's a lot easier just to go in with like a hose or something, but here in the studio I'm a little limited, as well as you want to capture all that water if possible. So here we're just getting a preliminary rinse, getting it started, and then we'll move in. But you can see how that black just kind of shows through, and that's what we're going for. We're going to have a little bit of residue left behind. The better the rinse, the less you'll have. But in this case, we had a lot of white residue left, and we'll address that when we get to it. But you can see here I'm just kind of pouring a whole bunch of water on it, trying to get as much of the patina neutralized as I can. And since the metal coating is technically wet as well, we don't want to sponge it or do anything that will affect the metal coating. We just want to rinse the patina itself. So here's more water, just trying to get more in those nooks and crannies that I couldn't get with the gallon. And again, just really you got to rinse it, otherwise it can be a pain later on. And now that we've rinsed it, we're going to go in with our universals. First, I'm going to go back and do a little bit more black magic around the base because I want it to have a kind of a reddish black, and it's okay if it goes a little white because it's supposed to look like straw. So after I do that, we're going to go in with the yellow universal, and I really recommend going with a brush of sorts. Sorry for covering up the camera, but you can see it kind of got off on the leaves. But we're going to cover that with the green universal as well. And the green universal, I thinned it down a little bit so it's not as opaque. I don't want to overpower like I'm painting these with the universals. I wanted the yellow to pop up. I wanted the green to kind of just add to it, but I want to add to the black magic. I don't want to create too much focus points or too many standing colors. So the universals are great because you can apply those while the metal coating is wet. They work best that way, and it's it just works out well because when the acrylic closes on the metal coating process, kind of encapsulates that universals. And while they can be rinsed and some of it can come off, overall they bond pretty well. So you definitely need a sealer, but overall they hold on to the metal coating really well and just kind of stay there. And after I'm done with the flower here, I'm going to go in and paint the bird and the apples just to add another color. It's kind of a cool little detailed bird sitting on the hat here. I thought people would like to see that stand out a little bit more. And what I like to do with the universals is paint them on, let them dry and everything, and then we can burnish them a little bit later on if it comes up and it ends up just being a little bit too much color. So that's always something that we can hold in reserve. It's easy enough to burnish. And if you wanted to use the dioxides instead of the universals, those would work as well. Remember, the dioxides are a little bit more transparent, but they would work exactly the same. You'd be wanting to put them on while the metal coating was wet, and that just makes sure that they bond a little bit better. Now, the dioxides do burnish off quicker, so if that comes into play, you'll need to definitely put a sealer on it. But here we're going to go in with our 50% tan. And I've used this mix a lot on the metal coating processes in the past. I'm just going to use this on this straw down at his feet, again, to kind of set it out, because right now I'm afraid it would blend in a little too much if someone put that in their garden. So we're just going to lighten that up a little bit and keep it so it's standing out again. So we'll come back the next day, and this is what we have. Like I said, remember, we have a lot of white residue built up. So that's all from the residue, and we can get rid of that. We can move forward through that. It's not a problem. So the first thing we're going to do is spray water on it, and this is distilled water. And what that tells us is when we put the clear guard on, what is it going to look like? Because I'm going to use the clear guard satin to start with. And as you can see, all that white goes away. Now, this trick doesn't always work. You should definitely do a test sample, but most of the time, if you get it wet, that is what it should look like. So you can either put the oil on or the clear guard satin, and that is what you can expect about that darkness. It doesn't get rid of all of the white, but it should get rid of most of it. So since we're pretty happy with that, we're going to come back, and this is our opportunity to do a little burnishing on the universals. And I'm just going to use distilled water on a paper towel and try and burnish it with that. And it's going to move very slowly at first. If you use something like the graffiti remover or something to that extent, it will pull off more, but I just want to subtly bring out some of that bronze color. So after we're all happy with how it's looking, we're going to go in with the clear guard satin, and like I said, most of this white should go away. If you're worried about it, you can also have some of the black patina stain on hand. And those are good for touch-up, especially if you've got a lot of creases, like in the crease of his two legs there. Sometimes white residue wants to just hold on. So that's a good little trick to have up your sleeve. It's not going to take away from your patina. It's just going to hide those little things right there. So here we're just going to go on, and it's one of those situations where it's just really a thirsty coating. So we're going to have to put on a little bit thicker of a layer than I normally go for. But ultimately, we'll start getting it cleared up here. Once I had it all cleared up, I decided I wanted to pop out a little bit more features. So I'm going with the brown patina stain on his hat. And again, this just kind of makes it almost look like the bronze is coming through a little bit more. So we could have burnished it off before we clear coated it, but we didn't, so we're just going to go in with the brown patina stain and kind of make the hat stand out just a little bit. It's enough to notice that in the sun, it'll look a little bit different. And same with the ground there. Just kind of, when everything else was a little too dark, that was standing out a little too white. So we bring that back with some brown patina stain. And then we're going to go in with the yellow patina stain and just do the sunflower there as well as the hair. And I'm going super light on the hair. Same thing. Looks fine, but in the sun we might see a little bit of different color. And then we'll go in with the green and make that flower pop out a little bit more. And it's a little bit more than I usually do, but this is, I think, ultimately going to work a little bit better. I think it's going to stand out and look really good once we're all done. I always like having the patina stains in the back of my head because it's a great tool. Whatever patina process you're doing, you can always nudge that color just a little bit in the direction you want to go. You know, the universals did most of the work, but I just want to push it just a little bit, and that's what the patina stains are designed for. And here we have our final piece of black magic and universals on bronze metal coating. Prime It, Bronze B, Black Magic, and Universals are all available at www.sculptnouveau.com.